Good evening. This is Kilo Charlie Niner Uniform Delta X-Ray. My name is Matt, and I welcome you to the 2 a.m. net. The purpose of this net is to promote the use of amplitude modulation and also to establish this part of this band as a place for AM activity in this area. Everyone is invited to listen. Licensed amateurs who can do so legally are encouraged to check in. We listen in the AM mode and transmit in the AM mode where possible. If you cannot transmit in AM, we encourage you to listen in AM and transmit in FM. If you are transmitting in FM, please adjust your transmit frequency a couple kCs above or below from our receive frequency. This facilitates the use of slope detection, that is, demodulating your FM signal with our AM receivers. When checking in, please announce your call sign in standard phonetics. Again, this is KC9UDX. My name is Matt, and I will now begin accepting check-ins. Any station wishing to check in, please come now. Well, I heard somebody, I think, trying to check in there. If you could please try again.
KC9UDX, this is N9CXK. But it sounds like I got something going on here.
Yes, I would agree. But I will recognize N9CXK and welcome Carol to the net. And maybe you can work on that, and we'll see if we have any more check-ins for the 2 a.m. net. Come now, please.
Whiskey Bravo 9, Bravo, Whiskey Papa.
All right, we got one more. There's Dave, WB9BWP. Welcome to the net. Do we have anybody else? All right, maybe a slow start. I guess here we are in February. I cannot remember if we had the big snow since the last net or if that was before that. Excuse me. And I guess not too much detrimental stuff here except for the fact that my tree which holds up my HF antenna is, well, this is not good. We'll see how this holds up. Anyway, my tree that holds up my HF antenna is not holding up so well. It was eaten by insects on one side, and half of the tree is missing. And half the tree trunk is missing, I should say. And now on the other side, most of the branches fell off. So I don't know if it's going to fall toward my antenna or what happens here. I did notice power was out in New Berlin last night by the industrial park. I'm not sure what that was all about. We have a lot of solar activity right now. I believe just yesterday there were 9 large flares. We've had a couple really big ones, not aimed in our direction. So the sun is really going wild. And with that, hopefully, Carol, you're ready. I'll turn it over to you. If not, let me know or just don't, and I'll figure it out. N9CXK from KC9UDX.
KC9UDX and net, N9CXK. Yeah, I don't know. I have a nice new radio I was using over there. Not brand new, but new to me. And I've been using it every day for weeks and weeks, but I don't know, I didn't like AM very much tonight, so I'm back on my 991 Alpha here, and I have a different antenna. I have a beam antenna that's 3-element beam that's should be pointed at you, Matt. Pretty close, anyway. So, if everybody's kind of in the same area, I'll be okay. Otherwise, I'll have to switch back to the ground. But yeah, solar activity is high. One CME hit us, and they thought the other CME might turn into a cannibal CME, where they all kind of gang up together. But I see that we don't have any tropospheric ducting here anymore. We did last week, but not this week. So we'll have to see what the conditions leave for us. But it's nice to hear you. I'm very happy that I remembered to get on the net, and yeah, it's been a pretty nice month in between here. Over N9CXK.
All right, thank you, Carol. It's of course nice to have you here, so I'm glad you could make it. And I wonder, you'll have to tell me on the next time around, I wonder if that new radio was that ICOM, what was it, a 746, I think? And possibly you got RF coming back into the microphone. But it's hard to say from this end. And yeah, I don't think that cannibal CME ever happened. I think that was predicted for this afternoon, but I haven't looked. I should look. And things could get a lot more interesting the way it's going. I kind of hope it does. And with that, we'll go to Dave, WB9BWP from KC9UDX.
Okay. Let's see. Matt, you had a good signal tonight. It seems clearer than it has been band-wise. You did start to get some of your issues there, not this last round, but before that, where it starts sounding like you're going off frequency. And Carol, when you switch to the other radio and stuff, you drop down over here, but I could still copy it. So you said that it's 991. And I just saw an email. I got Fred, W9KUY. He's got a 991 and he's got an ICOM 7610. He just sent the 7610 back for the second time in a couple of months. And he was talking on that 991 over the weekend, and smoke started pouring out of it. He opened it up and sent some pictures. He's got some major burn damage on the VHF amplifier board in there. And that radio had gone in the shop a year or two ago, still under warranty for replacement of the final transistors on VHF. So anyway, and I just got the VHF rack back. Well, it's not really back together. It's hooked up, and most things are in place. I tore everything apart here about 3 weeks ago because I didn't like the way it felt for the RIDI contest in January. And I set a goal of this past weekend, CQ, WPX RIDI. And I got the HS stuff back together, and I ran the contest. I got 163 contacts. It worked pretty well. And the bands were pretty good. I, of course, didn't get up as early as I should have on both Saturday and Sunday, so I missed the 10-meter opening to the east. But I actually worked a lot of DX on 40, believe it or not. I think I got 27 countries worked in the contest, and I think half of them were on 40. Stand by just a minute. So, anyway, I worked on getting the TS2000 here back functional, so I can check into this next tonight. The FM rig has been kind of dangling in space here for the last couple of weeks to hit any of those nets. But anyway, everything's back and working. And there's an MRIC meeting Saturday. I think they're going to talk about fusion and wires usage and stuff. Because it's, in nighttime it seems okay, but I guess during the day there's been times that have annoyed Dick. There's a couple of people that connect to the network and just let it sit, don't do anything, but it's using up the repeater. Anyway, there are a number of people really don't understand how it works and how to connect and disconnect and things. And Yaesu doesn't make it any easier because every radio that Yaesu comes out, the actual button presses or the sequence that you have to use to disconnect from the wires network connection is different. So, one person with one radio can't tell somebody else with a different radio, oh yeah, just push this button, because it probably doesn't work that way. Why do they do that? I don't know. Anyway, that's enough talking for this round. This is WB9 DWP.
Copy there, JCC.
All right, recognizing Frank. Frank, please stand by. And I guess I'll start out by saying I see my frequency must be drifting a little bit again. I'm going to have to invest in a crystal oven if I cannot find a different crystal, which it was hard enough finding this one. I don't even have an FM rig in here. I have not for ages. I don't know what happened to the one that was here. That got replaced with a Radio Shack handheld, and that no longer works. I've got an ICOM, I forget the model number of it, mobile rig I could put here. It's a dual bander. It's probably better suited to being here than in a vehicle right now. I accidentally wrecked the volume control on it. I cleaned it out with deoxit and wiped all the carbon off of it. And there is no replacement part for that thing. So unless I can figure out how to paint graphite on a potentiometer, that thing's stuck at half volume, or if I short it to full volume, I guess. That's the one that I had to disable the talking whatever thing is it that came in it, because it would get cold in my car in the winter. And I would turn it on, and it would just go 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, and it wouldn't stop until it warmed up. And I am not happy at all with the latest Yaesu radios. I am very pretty much disgusted with my Yaesu 200, FTM 200 or whatever that thing is. It makes me not want to buy any more Yaesus. I have a lot of older Yaesus, which I really like. And I do not like these newer ones at all. And that Wires X actually bothers me. I wish I could disable it, because I don't know when it's turned on and when it's turned off. And I really don't want to use it. I guess to me the internet capability on repeaters is useful, sort of. Obviously, for linking, it's between repeaters. It's great, and occasionally it's nice to be able to get into a repeater when I don't have a radio or I'm way out of range. I can use my phone with Echolink or whatever it happens to be. I've done that, and that's handy. But as for other things, I really don't have too much use for that, other than maybe joining nets and stuff. But that has to be highly coordinated, I think, in order to work. Anyway, I heard Frank I'll stand by to see if we have anybody else. Do we have anybody else that wants to check into the 2 a.m. net? Come now, please. All right, hearing none, I should say I recognize W9JCC, and Frank, welcome to the net. Sorry I kept you waiting so long. I will turn it over to you.
Okay, thanks, Matt. KC9UDX and the net W9JCC. Well, I didn't hear too much what was going on. I heard the station before. I think that might have been Dave from the sound of his voice, but I just got down here and I got to thank Steve again for putting out the QST. It just caught me on I was half asleep upstairs watching some TV and caught that. And well, I told my wife I'll just go down and check into the net. So not a whole lot going on here. I turned in all my receipts for the damages done by the surgery a couple weeks ago, and so the re-energy is going to take care of whatever my deductible is there, so that'll help a little bit. And other than that, we're enjoying the nicer weather. Most of the, sometimes it's sunny, sometimes it's not so sunny, and it's a little bit damp and not so great. But I'd rather have this than having a lot of snow and ice especially. So I'll turn it back to you there, Matt, and see what else we got here. I'll go on KC9UDX and the net W9JCC.
All right, thank you, Frank. And this is KC9UDX, Net Control. Well, I'm glad you could make it. And I'm glad that Steve put out a QST. I suppose we'll be hearing from him here soon, hopefully. I was kind of hoping Gary would show up. See if he's got any of the issues worked out with that radio he's got. And good to hear that We Energies is working with you. I've never done that. I've had a handful of consumer electronics die over the decades, and I never really pursued anything. One case I probably should have, but I really couldn't prove that was what happened. And I suppose with that, we'll see if there's any more check-ins for the 2 a.m. net. Come now, please.
I heard Joe in there a couple of times. I don't know if why he's not trying right now. But anyway, I did hear AB9DW in there. This is WB9BWP.
All right, thank you, Dave. I did not hear him at all. But Dale, if you're there, AB9DW, please go ahead and try again. Well, Dale, I will say welcome to the net. And I've got you at about a 3 out of 10. And I can tell you're talking, I can recognize your voice, but I cannot make out what you're saying. So, Dave, you can probably hear him the best. If there's anything you care to relay, I'll turn it over to you, WB9BWP from KC9UDX.
He was saying that signals are down at his end. Even me and Frank Buffin, who's just a couple of miles west of him. So he just said this will be his last one there, you know, that he checked in. He can barely hear any of us. Maybe we'll try again next month. So, I guess that covered it there. This is WB on PWP.
All right, thank you, Dave. And I will say 7-3 to you, Dale. Yeah, we'll see what next month brings. I would say your signal is up just a hair from last month, but it's back where it normally is. I would say, yeah, right where it is right now is pretty much average, but that doesn't mean you're not more audible at times. Sometimes the signal strength meter isn't all there is on AM. And, excuse me, we are still at the bottom of the list. Let's see if we have anybody else that wants to check in. Come now, please. All right, none heard. We'll go back to the top of the list. And we'll go to Carol, N9CXK from KC9UDX.
Oh, thank you, Matt. KC9UDX and the net N9CXK. All right, I could hear Dale the same way. I could hear him, I could hear his voice, but I couldn't understand what he was saying. But I'm a ways out, and yeah, I'm using this little beam tonight, which is pointed basically towards Milwaukee, so hopefully it's pointed towards you guys, most of you anyways. And it's doing very well, actually. A couple of you have higher signals than you did before, so it is working correctly. Yeah, and I'm on the 991 here, and it's the highest I can adjust it is 20 watts. So I guess that's what I'm supposedly running here. I don't know, but yeah, everybody's sounding good. Conditions are conditions. I don't think the sunspots are affecting 2 meters at all now, but it's possible. Always possible. I'm kind of interested in what We Energies is doing for you, Dave, as far as because I always assumed, and in the old days we just kind of, if you got things damaged by an electrical problem out on the system, then we were buying everything, refrigerators and toasters and stoves and all that. And then people have been telling me for several years that we don't do that anymore. It's an act of God and your insurance should cover it, and we don't do that anymore. But now it sounds like we've kind of relented on that a little bit, and they're helping you out with your deductible, which is great. So I'm kind of curious about that. I don't know much about that end of the business. I'm a pretty good negotiator. I don't know if I could go through that day after day, though. And Matt, I'm sorry you don't like your Yaesu radios. I mean, I have 3 Yaesu radios that do fusion, and the buttons on every one of them are different. They're not all the same. They're sort of similar, but they're in a different order, and they have different names on them. I have an FTM 100. I don't have a lot of experience with it yet. I have the FTM 100, and then I bought the HRI 200 to make a node. And I don't know why, but it was inexpensive, and I just picked it up because it matched, you know. And so yeah, when I started out, I was on the ICOM. I was on the 746, but I did find out that I have a jumper here. It's a brand new, almost a new jumper, but it has one of those PL259s that really has a lot of threads on it or something, you know. You can push it in and seat it, but then when you try to tighten up the shell, you can't go far enough. It's too long. It's too long, so you bottom out on the SO239 before it gets tight. And when Frank or Dave was talking, I was moving it, and I could hear crackling in there, and I thought, well, what is that? And it was the connectors on a SWR meter I had in line. Well, I don't need the SWR meter because I know that the match is really good on UHF and VHF here. So I'm going to keep using this for now. I can't think of anybody that would be a problem. I don't know where Dale is, but I assume he's east somewhere, or maybe even a little south of east for me, maybe like Oak Creek or something. So if I put the Omni on, I could have probably heard him a little better. And Matt, I was thinking of you earlier, because I was on QTH. And the one is, there's a guy out east. I think he's in Philadelphia or something like that. Ernie, WB2IMH or something like that. He has every old VHF radio there is, apparently. He's selling them off bit by bit. And today he had a stack of 5 of those 5 Gonset 4s. He has 3 2-meter ones, a 6-meter one, and a 220 one. That's what he listed. All 5 of them were in a stack there. He was selling them all for a package price, which wasn't that much, but he won't ship anything. So you have to go to Philadelphia to get it, I guess. But he's been selling everything, every kind of Kenwood and Kenwoods and Cleggs and you name it, he's been selling it. He must have an immense collection. So I feel kind of bad that I can't get anything from the guy, but it's a little too much trouble for me. This has been an interesting work week already. We had a big long safety meeting today, and I'm actually trying to clean out all these lockers and things that I have with test equipment and test leads and all of this stuff that I've collected over 40 years. Take it in and put it on the desk, and the guys take some of it, and the rest I guess I'm going to have to just throw away. But I have lockers and lockers full of stuff. Some of it will come to the Hamfest, I think. There's a few things that are kind of good. They'll come to the Hamfest. But, I thought it was good, useful stuff back in the day, and I guess it's not the same anymore. But everybody appreciates me bringing it in and tell them what it is anyways. I'm watching my power output here. It's staying where it is. But I do have the fan running full blast on the 991 now, so now I'm sure that works. KC9UDX and 9CXK, over.
All right, thank you, Carol. As I watch my output power slowly rise, I've got a fan on this radio keeping the crystal cooler. It has to be warm to work, and it can't be too hot. Yeah, it's too bad that guy won't ship. It would be nice to have the 220 version of this radio. I have the VFO for that. That would be a lot of fun. I don't know that I'd want another 2-meter one or a 6-meter one, because I've got a communicator 3 for 6 meters. But I probably would buy the whole package just to get the 220. Those are hard to get. Although, frankly, I haven't been looking in a very long time. And, you mentioned the Yaesus with the different stuff. I've got a FT-M200, I think it is, and a FT-3, I think, DR or whatever it is. And it's very, very frustrating because they look like they work the same on the display, but the one is a touchscreen and the other one is not. And I guess it would be fine if I'd rather have not touchscreen on either one of them, but I guess if they both had the touchscreen, it would be okay too. But as it is with them both different, it's very, very frustrating. And that's even then, either way, they're just too hard to use. And the mobile rig, the 200, it's very easy to get that CPU confused, get that thing locked up and not working. Very, very annoying. I guess it's really, really annoying to me, is that I intended to buy a 300, which is a true dual band, instead of this 200, which is a fake dual band, and somehow I ended up buying the 200 instead, and finding out that I don't think I intended to buy it, because it was the 300 was on sale and they were the same price that day. And it turns out the 200 has fake dual band. It's not a real dual bander at all. Oh well. Someday, I think it's W9MKE, I think, was looking to probably take that off my hands someday, and I'd get something completely different. I would like something with APRS built in, and there's only a handful of other radios out there that do that, unless I can find an older one. And yeah, I recall knowing people that had damaged equipment, getting everything completely replaced with no cost out of pocket, through We Energies. I had not heard that ever changed, but that was a long time ago. And like I say, I probably could have taken advantage of that at times, but I'm normally not the kind of guy to do that. And I guess it's surprising that they would ever take responsibility for that stuff. Although I don't know how many homeowners know how to prevent damage from the line. Anyway, I was going to say something else here, now I forgot, but I will turn it over to Dave, WB9BWP from KC9UDX.
Okay. Yeah, I've had a couple of things over the years. Power line issues. A TV many years ago. Audio section. And an Amstrad power supply, also this was, at least a long time ago too. I like to say it turned the 723 regulator just into an EEPROM, because it actually blew a hole right through the top of the chip. Other than that, I've had lightning damage that wasn't a power line, came in through the cable system. And then it walked on down the line, little things that were connected to other things. And the insurance company took care of that. I did not know that a communicator was made for 220. That's pretty good. And as far as selling things and stuff, we are once again this year, MRAC is doing the during Dayton free handfest on Saturday in the HLO parking lot. So it doesn't cost you anything. Come down, sell your stuff. And then it just so happens to be the same day as the meeting, which is the auction in May. So at 10 o'clock, you can take stuff you didn't sell and bring it inside to the auction. And collecting stuff at work, the last 20 years before I finally hung that up, I was working for myself. Before that, I spent a few years at Eaton. And we had gotten a new boss, a female, and she just didn't like the organization in the lab as we had. So she had the entire department one day. She said, "I'm buying your pizza, and I'll get a number to charge for this, but everybody's going in the lab, and we're going to clean it out." And early in the day, somebody had something, and they, we don't need this, and they would have thrown it away, and I was like, "You're throwing that away? can I have it? Yeah, sure. And my office happened to be right outside of one of the lab doors. And after doing that a couple of times, everybody caught on. And so anytime anybody in the lab, and it was a fairly big room, anytime they had something they were going to toss, they'd call me, they'd, hey, Dave, and they'd hold it up, and I'd either shake my head, yeah, or, nah, I don't want it. And if I said yeah, then they would just take it and put it in my office. It took me multiple trips out to the car that day. It happened to be a day of a club meeting, when it was meeting Thursday night. And so I would still wait and go to the meeting right from there. It took multiple trips out to the car for all that stuff. The good old days of collecting things. And that way stuff out. This is WD9DWP.
All right, thank you, Dave. You don't ever have to stop talking here. No restrictions on length of transmission here. And I guess I don't have too much of stuff accumulated at work. I've only been at my current job for 8 years, which incidentally is the longest I've worked any place in a very long time. 2 more years, it'll be the longest I've ever stayed at one place ever. I did a lot of job hopping to get to where I am. I did have a piano at work, which was kind of interesting that I was able to take that in. Even more interesting that I was able to carry it out without any questions. Full-size mechanical action 88, but that is no longer there. And I kind of miss those Thursday night meetings. They were closer to home, and I guess it was more. Nowadays, it would be much more convenient for me to go on Thursday nights. For many years, I could not do that, and that's why I had to quit going. But nowadays, that would be much more convenient for me than Saturday mornings. But I guess that Saturday mornings aren't the end of the world. I have to look at the calendar. The auction in May, I will be able to go. But there's, I think, most of the meetings in summer otherwise, I will probably not be able to go. Unless our overtime numbers stay low, which I suspect they won't, but I guess who knows. And I guess speaking of that, our overtime numbers have been cut drastically, so I have not been able to work much overtime at all. Today was the first 12-hour day I've worked in probably over a month. I've only done 2 this year, and only 3 in the past 4 months. So it's been a very long day. I did fall asleep in the chair earlier, but I'm staying awake for now. I've been awake since 11:20 last night, except for my little nap in the chair. And with that, we'll go to Frank W9JCC from KC9UDX.
Okay, KC9UDX in the 2AM net. This is W9JCC. And copied everybody pretty well except Dale, and copied him about the same as everybody else. I could hear him, I could detect his voice, and I couldn't tell what he was talking about. So everybody else was coming in between S7, Gil, and Dave is about S8, and naturally your usual 40/9. Carol asked about what they were doing, what Re-Energies was doing. after we got our power back up, which was after 5 days, and a couple of guys in hard hats came and knocked on the door and gave me a little business card and said, if you need any help, with damages, just call this number. So I did, and they basically said that, send us your receipts, and we'll cover everything up to your deductible. So that's much better than the last time, because a year and a half earlier we had a surge, and I think the limit was like $500. And this time, the only bad part about that was I changed insurance, homeowners insurance about 2 months earlier, and I went from, I think it was a $2,500 deductible down to a $1,000 deductible. So if I would have kept the old insurance for a few more months, I would have probably covered everything. But anyway, it's better than nothing. I also lost my Headstrong power supply, but it had gone the last time too when we had a surge, and it was the same type of failure. I guess I could have got it for a new one, but basically what happened is they had a built-in MOV in there, and so the MOV shorted, which blew the fuse, and the MOV stayed shorted, so they put another fuse in it, which is blow. So I got a hold of another MOV, put that in, and put a new fuse in it. Now she's back running. It's a real nice Headstrong. It's not the biggest one, but I think it's like a 20 or 25 amp, and just barely enough. I think you could probably run a 100-watt regular, but I used it on a mobile regular I got in the basement, and it seems to do just fine with that. Let's see, what else we got here? Oh, you mentioned Gary earlier. I talked to Gary a couple of times in the last few days. I usually, my timer must have run out. I usually catch him when I'm mobile quite a bit now. Been getting out almost daily, and sometimes 2-3 times a day. So we'll get a hold of somebody on the repeater here on the west side. I'm going to be a little bit short time today. I'll listen a little bit here, but I got to get upstairs to take care of some things here before 9 o'clock. Back to Nick, KC9UDX, W9JCC.
All right, thank you, Frank. So are you are you planning on checking out now, or do you want to stay until the next go around here?
You can check me out. I'll just listen for a little bit, and then I'm going to get out of here in about 10 minutes.
All right, sounds good. So if we don't hear from you, I will say 7-3 to you, and glad you were here. And I think it was Carol earlier that asked where Dale was, and I forgot to mention, I'm pretty sure he's in Franklin, only because I have run into him in Franklin, so I think that's where he lives. And oh boy, I lost my train of thought. I interrupted myself and forgot what I was going to say. Guess I should have been writing things down here. But I guess we'll move on. We're at the bottom of the list. Do we have any more check-ins for the 2 a.m. net? Come now, please. All right, hearing none. I wish I could remember what I was going to say. I was going to respond to something Frank said. Probably about the Astron power supply. I think I have the same one. Mine powers all of the mobile rigs that I have mounted in here, although none of them work anymore. There were three 3 UHF and VHF mobile rigs. And I can also power both the GON sets at the same time with that. And that's something I really need to get under control here, is I need to buy some more of those Cinch Jones plugs. I have not found any when I've gone to Hamfests, so I'll have to see if I can find somebody online that sells the ones I need. Because right now I have Stacons on the back of the radio, which is not ideal. I certainly cannot quickly switch between AC and DC power supplies, which is really, really annoying. So I'll have to get a hold of some new Cinch Jones plugs and wire them up separate. Anyway, we'll go back to the top of the list. N9C, excuse me, N9CXK from KC9UDX.
KC9UDX and the bunch. N9CXK. Okay, well, when I first started work, somebody'd cough like that, they'd always say, well, get another menthol cigarette, will you? So, those days are long gone, too. Boy, oh boy. I remember when I started work, and it does seem like the olden days. I mean, to me it wasn't, but, boy, the guys I was working with were ancient, and the equipment and everything was kind of old stuff. So some of it's still around. I still have a few pieces that are kind of interesting. At the electric company, there were guys, cabinet makers. They used to make the box, a wooden box for every piece of test equipment, and they'd make wooden boxes for little current transformers and little voltage transformers and things, so that you could carry them around without getting beat up, and then slide them out of the box. And oh my gosh, there's some beautiful stuff. I have an assortment of the old wooden boxes. They're just beautifully made with nice little latches on them, and they're all varnished. And oh man, guys spent a lot of time doing that. I was just trying to find my old wooden case ammeter. It's a big ammeter in a wood box. And then it had a common terminal, and then about 6 different terminals for the different ranges on it. Gosh, I used to have to use that every day. But I don't know where that went. I think I have it somewhere. I just have to keep looking. Because that's another collector's item. And I have a pretty good assortment of panel meters too, watt meters and voltmeters. But voltmeters that are calibrated in kilovolts and, things like that. So I've got to start picking all that stuff up. I took a lot of meters like that to the Hamfest. Nobody cared. So I guess mostly they're shelf sitters, what they are. And I'm sorry, I mixed up Dave and Frank as far as who had the storm damage. Sorry about that. But that's good to hear. That's good to hear that we're taking responsibility for some of that. Well, that was, certainly the snowstorm and blizzard was not really our fault, but because we couldn't get the power back on, that's why people had damage, I guess, in several cases, many cases. So I guess I might have been ready to say, yeah, we were getting ready for a birthday party and we had a freezer full of lobster and shrimp. Something like that, but I don't know if I could do that or not. And well, that's interesting to hear. I do hear guys on the WQ9A repeater every so often, and they are people that I've heard here or on 10-meter nets. So maybe I'll listen on there a little more, and I can talk to some of you guys when I'm cruising around. Our UHF repeater is pretty much dead. And then all my friends right now, they're down at, they about half a dozen of the guys in my club go down to Mississippi this time of year and rent condos down there. stay for a month or so. And this year they're all going over to hamcation. So they're all gone. So there's really nobody around. Our 6-meter repeater is better than a stone too. But I do have the antennas. I do have the antennas hooked up correctly now, so that I have a vertical on my 6-meter radio. I can hear the repeater sort of. It just has never been the same since we had to go to an antenna that's about 50 feet up. It just doesn't really do much anymore. We used to have the antenna at about 175 feet up on the tower in New Berlin there. Oh man, you could use that repeater all over, and we had a remote base too, and I could hit the remote base with 5 watts from down in Lake Geneva. I mean, it was just fantastic on 6 meters, but haven't had anything like that for about 25 years. So, and none of us want to climb the 250-foot tower anymore. And so we inquired about somebody who would do the tower climbing for us. Oh, we don't have enough money in the treasurer to pay the guy, so we're still looking around. All we want to do is take our 6-meter loop and move it up to about 150 feet up on the tower and connect. There's a feed line up there already, but it's so expensive. I don't know what we're going to do. We'll get it done, I think, someday. And okay, Dale is in Franklin. Well, I'm not pointing towards Franklin at all, so that would be the problem there for me. I bet you if I turned this beam in that direction, then I could probably hear him. So, and I've had good luck with the 2-meter AM guys over in Walworth County here. They're all on horizontal, but my stacked loops up here do work pretty good. And I got them to meet me on 2-meter sideband on. Was that Tuesday night? Is that tonight? That's tonight. 2-meter sideband. Yeah, like right now. That's okay. This net only happens once a month, so I'll hang out here. But now, Matt, I'm kind of quizzical about your Yaesu radio, because I have an FTM 100 and that has the full APRS on it. It's all in there. I can just fire it up, put my call sign in there, and have it beacon or whatever I want to do. I'm really surprised that the 200 doesn't have that. But my 100 is another one of those like a 1.5 band where it'll. It's not really a dual band. You have to switch back and forth. It does both bands, but, well, you have to switch back and forth to use each band. But I love how fast the Yaesu radios scan. They scan faster than any police scanner I've had. So that's one way that I do listen to both bands simultaneously at the same time. So, KC9 UDX and 9DXK. Over.
All right, thank you, Carol. Excuse me. I think that the 200 is a little bit more capable than the 100. It's actually it looks like a dual band radio, and it operates like a dual band radio. And you can listen on UHF and VHF at the same time. But the receivers, it doesn't have 2 receivers, it's only got 1 receivers, and it switches back and forth so rapidly that you almost can't tell. But of course you can't transmit in one place and receive in another place at the same time. And it does have APRS built in, but that's the catch. Unless you just keep it on the APRS frequency, it's not real useful. I believe excuse me, I believe you can listen. You can listen on the one band and have APRS working on the other. But when the APRS transmits, it wipes out the receiver. And if you're scanning or anything, it will not work. I don't know. It's just annoying. It just almost works. It just almost does everything, and it doesn't really do anything. Really, really frustrating. The APRS settings go out on occasion. I'm not sure what triggers that, but that's another thing that's really annoying is I have to go in and reset all those settings, and they're hard to find. I think the next time I have to do it, I probably won't even bother. But I bought those two radios hoping to be able to use them, hoping my daughter could go out on her bike with the handheld, with the FT3 or 2 or whatever that thing is. And I would be able to receive that on the mobile rig and see where she is, but it doesn't work that way, and I'm not exactly sure why. It'll work through the reflector or transponder, whatever that's called, but I don't know what the status of that is because I can hardly ever get into that. So that doesn't work for what I wanted to do with it. Digipeater is probably the word I'm looking for. And I looked at setting up my own digipeater, and I just never got around to doing that. In fact, I've got a Raspberry Pi sitting right here in a box that I wanted to use for that. Speaking of Raspberry Pi, I bought a Rock Pro 64 today. Don't know when it will arrive. It'll probably be a month or two before I get it. Don't know if anybody's familiar with that. It's like a super powerful Raspberry Pi clone. It's actually it's the same processor as my Pinebook Pro laptop, which is why I bought it. It's a little bit more expensive than a Raspberry Pi, but you do get what you pay for. I believe it's on par with the Raspberry Pi 5, and the Rock Pro 64 is a couple years old now. I would like to say that Pine 64 has a newer one that probably is better than the Raspberry Pi 5, but I'm not really positive about that. And that was the whole purpose, original business model behind Pine 64 was making more powerful Raspberry Pi-like things for less money. Of course, they're made in China, and that's why the Raspberry Pi is made in the UK, of course. Oh, and Carol, you talked about the shrimp in the freezer. I don't think that would work, or at least anybody with common sense would deny that. Seems how you could have easily put the shrimp out in the snow. It was plenty cold enough. And I did not know, excuse me, I did not know there was a WQ9A repeater. I for the past probably close to 10 years now, I have not been up on anything repeater-wise, so anyway. Next we'll go to Dave, WB9BWP from KC9UDX.
Okay. Let's see. Just a couple things on my list. Yes, Dale is just south of Rawson, around, trying to remember, I think 65th, something like that. So, and that puts him almost directly east of me by 4 or 5 miles, something in that vicinity. And our Thursday night meetings, right before we entered the 2 years of Twilight Zone with COVID, we got a letter from the church saying, "You guys have been great meeting here, all of that, but you better find a new place because the church is for sale." And so when meeting in public returned, we had to find some place to do it, and the store was an easy target. And doing it we could do it on a weeknight at the store, but then Tom has to be there and he has to stay. And if he's worked all day, it's not always good to have him hang around for a few extra hours. And my moving around with jobs wasn't my choice. I got caught 3 times in 9 years, and then that's what prompted me to say, screw it, I'll just work for myself. I would confound most HR people when they go, well, you're taking this really well. And I said, yeah, so big deal. In fact, and when I was at Eden, they decided to take R&D from 350 people down to 85. And this is a really bizarre story, so I'll tell it. Our boss, the one that wanted the lab cleaned out, technically she was based in Southfield, Michigan, because there were some people over there. She happened to be on vacation in Florida when they wanted to get rid of all of us. And they wanted your immediate manager to be the one to tell you. Stand by. No, just because I don't change the timeout timer on the radio. So, they put her on a plane in Florida, flew her to Southfield, Michigan in the morning, so she could tell the people over there that were getting it. They then put her on a plane, flew her over to Milwaukee, so she could take care of us in the afternoon. And I happened to be in a project meeting, so she had to hang around till like 4 o'clock. And then they put her back on the plane and took her back to Florida to finish up vacation with her family. Like that didn't cost any money. Not to mention it probably put her in a really good mood, but that's okay. It was in 3 phases when they got rid of all the people. I was in phase 1. She was in phase 3. So, anyway. And on that happy note, hey, I'll send it back to that. This is WB9BWP.
All right, thank you, Dave. I have left 3 jobs not of my choosing. The first, and I guess it was also second one, because I worked there twice. That one, like so many other places I've worked, went out of business. That was a large historic place. I had the strange experience of being the very last employee there. I worked there, I think, 6 months longer than everybody else. That was a very interesting thing. But that company has gone into everybody's forgotten it. It's gone into total obscurity. It was kind of a noteworthy place at the time, but nobody will remember it anymore. And one place, the first place that I had to leave, not by my own choosing, just had a boss that I did not see eye to eye with. I got along with everybody until my boss left, and then we got a new guy, and he didn't want me working there, so he was going to find a way to get rid of me, and he did. And the third place, sort of the same thing. I never really got along with the owner of the company, but he found excuses to get rid of me, and I found out eventually that it was not just that he wanted to get rid of me, it's that he was going out of business, and he had to get rid of me, so can't really fault him for that. Did end up going out of business shortly after that. But then I I didn't stick around at too many places for very long after that. Had to find somewhere worth staying. Couldn't afford to keep working at some of the places. That was part of the problem. Excuse me. Anyway, yeah, I remember the days when everybody smoked at work. I never could handle those menthols though. But anyway, since it's getting hard for me to speak, and I am starting to get tired here. We'll see if Frank is still with us. I doubt it, but I'll call anyway. W9JCC from KC9UDX. All right, not hearing Frank. I'm not surprised. He said he was not coming back, so we'll see if we have anybody wants to check in last minute here for the 2 a.m. nets. Call KC9UDX. Kind of surprised Steve didn't pop in here. This is our lightest turnout in a long time here, but that's okay, it happens. Well, I guess it hasn't been that long, probably November. Anyway, we don't get bored, and we never run out of things to talk about. And if I wasn't falling asleep, we could probably go another hour. But I will call this the 7-3 round. Take as long as you like. N9CXK from KC9UDX.
N9CXK. Alright, very good. Well, I changed antennas while everybody was talking. I'm on my big collinear now, and yeah, I guess it did raise your signal mass just a little bit. So, the beam isn't that high either, but I thought it'd be fun. I had it horizontal for a long time, and it wasn't really doing much at all for me there. Wasn't doing what I needed it to do, so I vertically oriented it and pointed it into Milwaukee. Thought it'd be kind of fun, and it does work. I am hearing some things I didn't hear before, so that's interesting. But, okay, I understand everything you were saying about the Yaesu radios, and, yeah, I know you can't, it's either APRS or something else. And if you want to do APRS, then you have to dedicate the radio to that. And, yeah, as far as, well, if the radio's scanning and you stop it, you can transmit there right away, but, yeah, you can't use it as like a crossband or something, I guess. I don't know. I have the FTM. No, what is it? FTM 3200, the straight VHF fusion radio. I really like that radio. It's a good radio, high power. And then I have a 7250, which is dual band, also one at a time. And it was kind of the earlier radio, but it's a really good working radio. The receivers on the radios are just wonderful. You know, I'm going to set up a channel in a couple of the radios here so that, because they'll receive AM anywhere I want them to, so I could set them up to receive AM here on this frequency, and see how they sound. I mean, they sound very good on aircraft, so I think I'll program them up that way. And yeah, I guess if you are programming those radios from the front panel, that's going to be a pain in the butt. Yeah, I have the software for a couple of the radios. I think I am going to buy it for the 3200 also, because I just like the radio, and the software makes it so easy to just load it up with frequencies and whatever modes you want, and be done with it too. Now let's experiment this week with my my ICOM and see what the deal is. I haven't had any troubles with it. It's been working beautifully on just about every band I've used it on. So I don't know what was going on tonight. It sounded like feedback, but I did have that funky jumper, and the jumper was kind of laying all around the shack here on top of the radio and around the microphone, and that's probably why. I had RF getting out of that connector, and it was getting right into the mic, so I'm not going to worry too much about it. I'll get everything back to normal here in a while. So yeah, I don't have too much else, but I think you are slowing down a little, Matt. I think you're slowing down just a little bit. So I think you're going to sleep well tonight, that's for sure. And if we have a little bit of snow and rain and slop coming up on Thursday, Friday, or whatever it is, so Wednesday night, Thursday. So that'll make things interesting. But then I guess it's going to get warm again. I mean, warm up to like we've been having. So kind of depressing for me. I'm looking at the ice out here on the lake, but I sure can't walk on it. So I guess we'll just have to grin and bear it for now. But it's really nice to hear everybody tonight. Everybody's sounding great, and I'm just so happy. I don't know. I get real relaxed when I'm here talking on AM. So I think that's a good sign. Everybody, take care. I will talk to some of you. Well, I don't know. None of you guys probably tomorrow night, but Friday night anyways. So I'll be listening around the bands. At WQ9A, there are two repeaters actually. WQ9A analog repeater and WQ9A fusion repeater. They're both in New Berlin-ish, I guess. Waukesha, New Berlin. So, yeah, I mean, the analog repeater, I get it full scale on my walkie-talkie here at my house. So I know I can use that just anywhere I go. So I'll make sure that's on in the car from now on to see what's happening. KC9UDX, because you're the boss. N9CXK 73. Everybody have a good rest of the week.
All right, thank you, Carol. And my radio is taking longer than normal to come up to full power here. Must be slowly drifting into frequency. And, oh boy, I was going to comment on something here and I forgot. But I will say 7-3 to you, Carol. And I guess I'll announce one other thing I was going to announce at the beginning of the net and I forgot. And here we are going back to Franklin. If you do happen to be in Franklin on the 26th, my son is opening. He's going to be the opening act for the Valentine's Dance of the Milwaukee Accordion Club. And if you're interested in going, if that appeals to you, I would pay the entrance. I think it's $20 to get in. He's only, I think, playing through 2 or 3, maybe 4 songs. But it'll be a good time. And I was hoping I could jog my memory here while I was talking, and I cannot. But I wonder what frequency that WQ9A repeater is. I guess I could look it up. And I don't remember what I was going to say. So we'll go to Dave. It's your turn on the 7-3 round WB9 BWP from KC9UDX.
Okay. Here for the 73 round. Just a couple of things. We some plays accordion. They played some of that for a few years. I saw them one year. Those Darn Accordions. That was the name of the band. Like 3 accordions and a bass player, I think, if I remember right. And they would do pop songs on accordion. They even did Stairway to Heaven on accordion. Since we're only here once a month, I'll say that on Sunday the 25th, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, the FM Simplex contest for the 21st year. 2 meters for an hour, 1240 for a half hour, 6 meters for a half hour, 220 for a half hour. Fusion and Northeast are for the last half hour. Whole bunch of different categories. Usually a few guys are out doing rover type stuff. So anyway, Sunday on the 25th. Next week at this time, for 8 o'clock, every Tuesday is Rookie Net on 145.39. Next week marks 2 years of Rookie Net. And we are lucky that I don't know, I'd have to look at least the last year, it's been on Rookie Net control. 4 different guys are rotating in that right now, and they are all hands of less than about 2 years or so. So that's pretty good. And that covers everything on my list there. So meeting Saturday, maybe see you there, Matt. The only thing about the Saturday meetings, I have to get up early. I had to get up early today. I got to go to a dentist, not my regular dentist. And I got to get up at 7:30 in order to get there on time. But 73 to all of us here. This is WB9 PWB.
All right. Thank you, Dave. I will say 7-3 to you. And thank you for the reminder about the FM Simplex contest. See if I can get Lorelei interested in that. I myself have not participated in a very long time. At one point I did score pretty well just because of the points that you get for 220. I don't know if we could do the digital hour or half hour or whatever it is, and it would take a little bit of work for me to get 6 meters again. We should be able to do the other ones. It's too bad they don't have 902 and 1.2 because I am fully prepared for those bands. And I do plan on going to the meeting on Saturday. I do have to work one day this weekend. Not by force, but I do need to do it for the money. Really should work both, but I don't think I can. I am lined up where I can work one of 2 of them. So I do plan on working Sunday. Excuse me. I don't think that the fusion presentation will be too interesting. I was hoping the Raspberry Pi one would be at least interesting, but unfortunately that didn't happen. Their presentation fell apart. Anyway, probably see you then. Otherwise, I will say this concludes the 2 a.m. net. Feel free to rag true on this frequency after my transmission. We will meet again on the 12th of March. Until then, this is KC9UDX73, and good night.
Thanks, Matt. It was very much fun. Talk to you soon. The 9CXK.
Thank you, Carol. Well, it wouldn't be any fun without you guys, so thank you for being there. 7-3 from KC9UDX.
And you know, I did kind of suggest, and I'll remind him again, and maybe you should bring it up too, about starting next year, should add 900 1.2. Even if nobody's on there, it's just something to say, hey, look, you know, we got this. WB9, BWB.
Yeah, and they should make it a lot of points. There's at least two, maybe 3 or 4 of us around here that could really rake in the points then. 7-3, Dave. I got to get going. I just realized I'm actually starting to fall asleep here. KC9UDX.